Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. The purpose of the show is to help you realize that you are not alone. You are in control of your life. It does not matter what your lot in life is or where you came from. We have all felt pain, suffering, hurt, abandonment, loneliness, hopelessness, etc. This show helps you to take those dark moments and turn them around and create a whole new you. We were taught to be a certain way, act a certain way, conform to society. Being socialized is not bad, but it can put constraints on us. The guests I bring on the show are telling you their story of where they came from, the obstacles they overcame, and where they are today. They are sharing the tools they use to recreate themselves and their life. Some of the guests are still in their process, beginning a new process, comfortable in their process, or even reinventing themselves. They are giving you the tools they use to gain insight into themselves, to take control of their life, and become the person they are today. On podcast, KathleenMFlanagan.com is a list of the guests that have been on the show with their contact information. I am aware that you may resonate with one or several of them. My desire is that this becomes a community where you have access to the people you wish to align with and utilize the tools that they have, as well as the tools being offered on KathleenMFlanagan.com. I am a certified coach who can help you reach your dreams. I help you to learn how to rely on and believe in your unlimited potential and power. I already know that you've experienced flashes of intuitive knowledge and big thinking that has you wondering just how far could I fly, if only. I'm here to help you stir up that innate knowing and self-trust already instilled deep in your soul. I help you to forge forward when the old you would rather give up and turn back. AwakeningSpirit.com is an aromatherapy company with body care line that offers alternative healing remedies and uses natural organic ingredients. We are offering a 40% discount in the coupon code by entering bravetv. The products are guaranteed. If a product doesn't work, please feel free to email me and I will reformulate this product specifically for you. Grandma'sNaturalRemedies.net is a CBD company that uses essential oils in every blend and either has broad spectrum or an isolate. Every product is tested and the lab results are on the website. We are offering a 20% discount by entering bravetv into the coupon code. I start every show with sound from the tuning forks. I bring in love, happiness, and balance. This sets the tone for the show and brings out the best in both myself and my guest. Let's begin. Haley is a starseed coach and mentor and the creator of 5 Steps to Alignment, a program that helps starseeds overcome fear, stagnation, and lack of direction on their soul's journey to become vibrationally aligned with their soul's mission and purpose. By connecting to the highest sources of light and consciousness, Haley fully realizes her gift as a multidimensional communicator, medium, and seer, allowing her to understand the human consciousness and how the vibrations within one's consciousness speaks to the universe. She perceives the psychological patterns and behaviors of an individual and receives channeled information about the source from which it stems, as well as how to shift it. Welcome, Haley.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love the tuning forks in the beginning. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you're welcome. And of course, you would resonate with that because I'm a star seed as well, sweetheart. Of course it is, because when I discovered the sound and the tuning forks. And then I was like, well, star seeds, the people that are not from our planet, so to speak, that's what they resonate with, is that sound, and it helps to increase our vibration. So yeah, fellow star seed out there in the world that I finally connected with. I love it. So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about you and how you remembered who you are and what led you to coming into doing the work that you're doing right now?
Yeah, so I actually fell into the energy healing, right? So I started off as a massage therapist, and I thought that was a great way because originally I actually wanted to be an actress. And I thought, oh, I could do massage therapy and go out to auditions, make my own schedule, right? And then as I was immersed in the massage therapy industry, healing industry, I found that I had this really unique talent of energy healing, of being able to intuitively read somebody, but not in a way of like seeking information, but more in a way of what is it that is specifically holding them back? What do they need freedom from? Right. And so then eventually, all of the Starseed, New Earth, Galactic Federation, all of those things started trickling into my reality slowly, because I think that's how the human consciousness, that's how it's safe for us to receive it. And so it was like this slow trickling process of who I am and what it is we starseeds are actually doing here.
Okay, so elaborate on that a little bit more, because you got my interest piqued in how this happened, because I can relate to that as far as how our consciousness works. Because I knew I was a star seed, I did the Galactic Federation, all of that. I've done all that reading long before you were ever born, sweetheart. Because that's just what it is. So I mean, and I know that we've had some of the star seeds on the planet. And then when I got into sound, and then I picked up another book, I'm not sure which one it was, if it was one of the Chiron books or what, and they talked about sound. And I thought, oh my God, I'm like just naturally flowing into that, because the vibrational energy of the planet was lifting to where we can go more and more. And so we created the space for you to come in, obviously. And
Mhm.
so when that started happening, because it is how we are with consciousness, it is, taking those steps forward. And as we get closer to where our goal and mission in life is, spirit comes towards us too, to help us to understand what we're feeling or experiencing. So when that happened to you, when you understood that you had this gift for knowing what's stopping somebody, what was the thinking process when you moved into that? Because like in my generation, we were a little bit more afraid because we're a little woo-woo. We're out there. They could put us in the, mental institution because we're crazy listening to people, whatever it was, they put a label on us. And
Mhm.
your generation doesn't have that label to that degree, because us crazy baby boomers already proved that we're not crazy.
Yeah, well, it is true. You guys really did set the stage and set the foundation and held the frequency for all of us to come through. That's absolutely 100% true. In relation to, resonating with sound, it's actually because really it's only humans that speak to communicate. A lot of ETs don't have verbal language to communicate. They communicate telepathically. And so for us, the frequency or feeling, sensing somebody's energy, that's actually a little bit more natural to us than hearing the sounds, hearing the language. It's like we can hear what people are saying, but our higher knowingness actually knows what they are saying, right? And that's why I think
Okay.
sound and frequency are so much more natural and organic and feel more like home to us, because at a higher multidimensional level, that's where we really are in frequency.
Well, it's true. You are. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely none. And so I really want to get into this discussion of soul. I'm trying to like set the stage, but this soul vision is just way too much. And we started touching on that last week. And I am just so excited about this soul mission, because I have been getting information and downloaded about mine, which it is what I'm going to preface it that our soul mission is we know what that is, even if we don't think we know what that is. But it's when we start getting older and we've lived a certain amount of our life and we start looking back, because we have a pattern that we follow. And as we're following this pattern, there are certain words that keep coming up, certain emotions that keep coming up, certain things keep coming up that just kind of tell us. So, okay, so my soul mission is that I'm here to help you release trauma, to bring in more love into your life and take you to that next level, because I stand in the doorway. I am standing between two worlds. So I'm not working with the brand new wake up people. I have tools to get you there, but I'm the one that's taking you to that next level, to take you where you, Haley, are sitting and beyond where you are sitting. I'm taking you over that, because when we're awakened and we're aligned, we have to remember who we are. And if we don't know who we are, how are we ever going to get there? So it's going back to the core essence of us. And so that's the preface of a soul vision, of my soul vision. So I would like to hear more what you have to say and whatever you may be channeling in, because by the way, folks, she's channeling a lot of information, as I do on the show. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a fun show, because if you pay attention to her, you'll see when she's channeling, because I see it every time. So let's just have some fun and just flow with this, Haley, because I'm too excited.
I know. I know. I feel like, especially lately, like the excitement we can feel changes upon us. And it's like we're coming out of our skin with the excitement and anticipation. So I am a firm believer that we all have a specific gift, skill, or ability that is meant to be shared with the world. However, we don't value it so much because it comes to us as easily as breathing, right? We usually tend to really value the things that we put in a lot of blood, sweat, and work into. Right. But when it comes naturally to us, we can't perceive it because it doesn't take any conscious effort to make it so. Right. However, you can acknowledge somebody else's gift, or somebody can acknowledge a gift of yours because they either don't have that, or they know because they can see that there's the same thing there, just like you described with the channeling. So I believe that because the earth is raising in its own consciousness, and as a result of that, humanity is raising in its own consciousness, we are following more of our heart. Like, we're not so strategic in a way where it's like this checkbox, this is what everybody says, so this is what I need to do. It just doesn't feel congruent with our souls anymore. And so those 9 to 5 corporate jobs and those minimum wage jobs, we're no longer really going to be selling our souls for money. And I don't even mean like the whole thing about Hollywood. I mean, like, we're no longer going to limit ourselves or put ourselves in a box because of what the standards of society are. We are more and more pulled now to accessing our creativity, to finding things that bring us joy, things that put us into a state of bliss. And so I think there's going to be this huge surge, and there already is, of entrepreneurs, of spiritual entrepreneurs, of barter and trading, because the gifts that we have are in itself a currency without limiting to it to a 3D construct, but I really believe that the soul's purpose, the soul's mission is everything. And the more that you try to deny that it's there, or the more you doubt yourself that it's there, or the more that you're like, I will get to it later, the more you can feel it subconsciously pressing on you, knocking and saying, I'm still here. I'm still here if you want me. I'm still here. You know that you should be doing this. So that's part of my take on it.
Okay, well, we're going to come back in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, and I want to go on to the next part of what you were saying as well. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we have Haley Carbajal in the room with us, and we are talking about our soul vision. One thing when you were talking, and this has been coming up for me a lot because Spirit actually told me that I was going to be rewriting our language, so to speak. And it ties into what you said because the 3D world are, we think up here, we're not coming from our heart, but we have to come from our heart space. And so it's more about the intention of what we want to accomplish and not a goal we want to accomplish, because it's the intention coming from our heart that actually creates that vibrant the vibrational forward movement, because it's coming from the heart. That's a true intention of you. And when you feel that, you can feel intention coming to you when you go into that heart space. And I actually have in my book an experience of this when it was downloaded in like 2008, 2007, somewhere in there. So, I mean, I'm definitely connected. But what I found when they said that we're going to do that is like the more, and I love that you can verify this too. But part of this was what I got was when we come into this heart space and more of us are coming from that alignment of our true essence, the light emanates, we vibrate higher, and all of a sudden the darkness starts leaving. So that takes us where you were saying, that 3D construct and that bartering, because right now we're still a money system. I don't know how that's going to look when it changes, but it doesn't matter because it's not my job to know how. His spirit will handle that the way it needs to be. But when we talk about that intention, and when you said this, I'm like, oh my God, I am so on this, right on the money with this intention of, yeah, because we come from heart, then that peace, love, and happiness that, us baby boomers have always wanted to have on the planet, and not this crazy place. But we still have to release those traumas. We have to release the hurts and the pains and the lies to move into that direction. So give me a little bit more of your take on what I just said. And if you have any more information to elaborate, I would love to know more about it. And I'm sure so would our audience.
Yeah, well, just same as you, I'm not sure how it's all going to unfold with us moving out of the regular traditional financial systems and all of that. Um, and really, I don't have much thought of it other than what you just described, right? What I do know though, because I am on in my soul's purpose, right? And I've been in it at a long time. I'm just taking it to this next level. And I just came out of a lot of scary financial ruin. I came out of a lot of self doubt. I came out of a lot of wanting to give up. I just came out of a lot of failures, right? But when I look back at everything that happened, right, on my soul's purpose, embarking on my soul's purpose, I always had everything that I needed, right? My kids always had clothes. We always had clothes. My kids always had food. We always had food. We always had shelter, all of those things. And obviously, you know that those hardships, those challenges, those failures were a part of the handcrafting process to be the person that you are today, right? And so, speaking to the just briefly on the financial systems and embarking on your soul's purpose and all that stuff, I'm not saying that for everybody when they embark on their soul's mission or purpose that they're going to be financial. That was just my experience, right? Temporarily. But along the way, you will always be provided for. You will always have what you need because you are serving a higher mission, and Creator wants to take care of you, will take care of you. And whatever kind of density that you're going through is not for punishment. It's not because you're doing something wrong, or it's not because something is wrong with you. It's really because you're gaining that mental, emotional, and spiritual muscle that is required for you to be the leader that Creator sees as a part of your destiny.
I agree with everything that you said because I think part of the reason that you went through your hardship, the reason I went through and wrote the books that I wrote, is because people are going to experience that, and we have to know how to help them. We have to know the language. We have to know that emotional feeling of desperation and fear and terror. And then we have to show them the way out. And if we don't know how to do that, how are we ever going to help somebody else? So, do I think the masses are going to go through a lot of this? No, I think they're going through a lot of it now. I think our world is in the dark night of the soul on many levels, because so much light is coming into the planet. It is being inundated. We are part of this planet, and all those dark recesses within ourselves have to bring the light to us. How we choose to look at it, how we choose to respond to it, how we choose to walk through this becomes the question. So part
Mhm.
of it, we have to change our attitude about, okay, why is God doing this to me? Well, God is not doing anything to you. You did this for yourself. This was your decision to make to get you where you are today. When I reread my books, Dancing Souls, don't tell me people are going to know that that book was real, because you cannot describe that pain, that suffering, the anguish, the desperation, the loneliness, the fear, the terror, and feeling like you're all alone and isolated. You can't talk about that unless you're in it.
Right.
And the emotion was emitted in there, and then the light comes on. But the whole point was, is I had to go so deep inside of me when everything was against me to just know the lie. I had to understand the lie. And when I found that little glimmer, that's all I could see through all that darkness. When I saw that glimmer, it was the whole room lit up. My whole life has changed. Literally. It's taken a long time to get here, but that's okay, because you still have to heal. You still have to understand the process. There's things that go on that you don't know. Well, when I told a coach of mine, I said, I'm fearless. I have no fear. Well, what are you afraid of? Oh, I was afraid of everything. Literally, I was terrified of everything. I don't feel that. I'm on fire. And if I stay in my soul vision, this is what I talked to one of my coaches this morning. I said, I can have my goal list up here of what I want to make and what I want to do. I said, but that's not driving me. That's always been the byproduct. What's driving me is helping somebody not be in pain, not to suffer, to come back to remembrance, to come back to love, that they're valued, they matter. They are so important on this planet right now, right here, right now, regardless of what their younger youthful circumstances were. That was the development of them coming to this new phase and really helping people to understand that. And you're the same way. I know that you're in the same situation. I moved to the next level. So are you. We are all elevating, and we're all at the perfect place at the perfect time. And you're here right now is perfect, and it is such a divine providence and orchestration to bring somebody that I'm just discovering this soul vision, and I'm so lit up, and then you show up, and I just was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was just like a little kid in a candy store. So I'm just so delighted. So elaborate.
Yeah, well, first of all, I felt that instantly when I met you, and I think it's no coincidence we're both wearing blue. I really don't think it's a
I know,
coincidence.
right?
So, yeah, not planned at all. So when we're there was something there's something I would love to give to your audience, if it's okay with you. So
Yes.
whenever I'm coming, because you talked about challenges and our perspective and our attitude towards challenges, right? And up until like by the time you're age, as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, by the time you're age 35, you're only a memorized version of who you are. Right. So it's a lot of the automatic programs. And so, what in humans, literally, the beautiful part about being human is that we are meaning makers. We give meaning to existence and life, the universe, right? And so I always, whenever I'm amidst challenges, to make sure that my automatic programs are not the ones in control of what's going on here, I always ask myself, and I give my clients these three questions. And so I'd love to gift these to your audience. The first one is, what am I making this mean? So this is being able to identify the automatic unconscious story that you are already telling yourself that is not necessarily true. It's just a preconditioned from society, other authority figures, parents, you guys all can fill in the blank, right? So first we must identify the unconscious story that we're already telling ourselves. Two, what could this mean instead? This is where you find that higher vibrational meaning. This is where you find the purpose in the pain. This is where you find the gift, that little beacon of light in the dark, right? And sometimes you got to ask yourself this multiple times, because that first question is going to be like, or that first answer is going to be like, no, it's this, no, it's this, no, it's this. No, what's the higher vibrational meaning? What could this actually mean instead? And to help stack on that, the last question is, how is this getting me closer to my goal? Because just like we said, like everything that you went through that you just described handcrafted you to be this authentic leader and beacon of light for others who are in their own dark, right? And so how is this getting me closer to my goal? How was my financial ruin getting me closer to my goal? How was all of these failures back to back for almost 2 years? How was that getting me closer to my goal? Because then you find the higher, truer meaning to what you're going through. And I love that you said that, the goals, the money, whether it be the dream house, the dream car, the dream bank account, the dream whatever, those really are just a byproduct. They're motivating to a degree. And, there's times when you're in your soul's purpose amidst it, your soul's vision, and you do have a moment where you question your sanity. You're like, am I insane for still pursuing this? Am I insane when all the odds are against me that I keep going? Like you question if you're insane or not. I know I've done that many times. And so the way that you know that it really is calling your higher purpose is that it has this gravitational pull of its own
Yeah.
that is ineffable, right? It's like this unconscious get up, keep going, unconscious get up, keep going. Doesn't matter what's going on around you, because that pull is so much bigger than anything that's going on in your external reality.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we're streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. And I have Kaylee Carbajal in the room with us. And we ended before commercial break about the pull that when we're following our spirit or that spiritual vision that we have, and there's a pull. And I was thinking this morning, probably when I was in the shower, actually, because, sometimes my greatest insights come in the shower. I was wondering what made me want to keep living when I really wanted to die, when I didn't want to be here because of the pain and the trauma and the suffering and all the things that I didn't understand. And it was so painful because I'm a very sensitive empath, so I feel everything on the planet. I feel all that, and I didn't understand it back then. And when you were talking about that pull, I guess I used to feel that. I mean, I was always driven to keep going, to keep going. I don't know. I mean, there was when Burlesque came out, I think it was in 2011, I was in the pits of hell. And this was the final stages of, being that spiritual warrior and fighting, hanging on by my fingernails. And I just didn't think I was going to survive it. And when I saw that, when Cher sang that song of I will come back and I'll be stronger, and I was just like hanging on to every word in that song because that was all I could do. I was looking for anything to hang on because I was on my fingernails on that cliff, and one hand was already off. I mean, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I was that close to death, and Spirit showed me that I was that close. And I was like, I was that close to death, one of those stupid things we do sometimes. But the whole point is that connection of what makes me want to stay here and go through that when other people don't have that, because I believe we all have it. We all have that, but why would somebody just give up? I mean, was there just not one person that showed any care whatsoever? Because I didn't always have people showing that they cared about me. So I had to find it inside of myself. So what do you think that would be? Because you've been there too, where you do think you're crazy and you're wondering why you're doing it. And what is this pull that's coming in from somewhere deep inside that I can't even find through the muck? And
Yeah,
yet here
well,
I am today.
yes, bold and brilliant and beautiful,
Thank
right? On
you.
the other side, yes. So, why others give up when some don't, I do think that it absolutely helps just to have one person in your life that believes in you. Just one. And I know that not everybody is so fortunate to have even just one person to believe in them. Really, that's a tough question, because a lot of it is could be bouncing ideas back, back and forth, and it's all speculation. Is it a soul contract? Maybe it was a soul contract they weren't ready to fulfill yet. Maybe
Mm,
it got too intense for them, and their souls just weren't ready. We truly don't know. But here is what I do know, is that the reason why we do or do not do something is because either our belief in it, we believe it's possible, we have some sort of thread of hope, no matter how small, um, and we have a belief that we can overcome whatever we're going through, right? And the second is our reason why. Do we have, and I know that sounds like such conventional wisdom, but really it's true. Really, it's true. The reason, it's like a reason why to get up in the morning. And when we cross through the veil as a star seed, we get mind swiped, right? We get mind swiped as to who we truly are, what we're actually doing here. And I truly believe that we go through that dark night of the soul to truly awaken us to who we actually are, because when you were describing what you were going through, I saw visions of, it was like this disassembling process of who you thought you were and
yep.
what you thought you wanted. And so you needed to be stripped completely bare so that you could be rebirthed and really start anew. And so sometimes that's what I think those moments are for. And you're like, you feel that, this pull to keep going and move forward. It's because you are connected, and it's because you know that there is something on the other side of this, whether it even be conscious or unconscious. The pull was unconscious, right? So it would like, there was, sometimes it's just as simple as the destruction of the old version of you that is no longer in alignment with your destiny and where you're going. And it is a painful process. It is a very painful, excruciating, scary, frightening process. But in ways, I don't know why it's like this in the 3D reality, but in ways it's almost necessary, right?
Well, I mean, this is a vision that came to me, and I actually wrote it down. Was, when they say when you die, you go to the light. But they also heard that there's this black band before you go to the light.
Hmm.
That's what I've heard, that there's a
Hmm.
black band, and that's all the negativity that we have around the paradigms, the mistruths, all of that. So I think there's some truth in that somewhere. But when I thought about this the other day, because downloads keep coming, was I had the black band inside of me, and I had to go through that. So that's part of the dark night of the soul. But it was more than just the dark night of the soul, because I literally had to go down deep. And I mean, I went so deep within the recesses of my being that I didn't even know I could go that deep, because there was so much pile of garbage on top of me. And that band was not a little thing. It was like this. Sometimes we have bands like this or bigger, depending on our lifetimes, what we went through, how we felt about it, how we judged it on the time of our death. There's so many factors that we created within that band. And this is all coming down because this is so not what I thought about the other day. That we have to go through that band, and it's exactly what you said. I mean, you described it beautifully, that I was stripping away all the old garbage. I had to make that hole to see that, and I didn't see it that way. I'm just like, what the F, man? When does this effing stop already? Because it was so gut wrenching. And I
Mhm.
kept thinking, and I didn't know what I was going to find on the other side. That was the thing. I had all my faith in God at that moment of, I don't know. I think you should just kill us all, because that's where I was going, because I don't know if there's salvation for us, because I couldn't find my way through the muck. And then
Mhm.
I did. And then I
Yeah.
knew why I was here and what I had to do to get there. And then it was like, okay, now I have to reconstruct myself. And what am I doing to get to where I can maintain this new level of awareness that I didn't even know I didn't have? Because the
Yeah.
connection's one thing, but I wanted to own that connection. I wanted to embody it. I wanted it to be mine, because that's how we co-create with spirit, when we really embrace the true magnificence of who we are, because now we are a useful tool for spirit to say, okay, we got her, let's go. Now we can really move forward because she's in the light, and we'll help her with her energy, so to speak.
Yeah, it's so funny because this world, this reality lives and exists in paradoxes, right? So, like, you had to go through the dark to see your light. You know what I mean? And most people fear the dark because, and I was actually just speaking with a client about this yesterday. Most people fear the dark because they associate the dark with evil. The dark doesn't necessarily mean evil. Really, I like to use the word for dark as density.
Yep.
It's just density we're shifting through. It's just density that we are removing. That's all. Um, and the funny thing is that we must go through the dark in order to actually see, be, witness, feel, and experience the light. And so I would just like to say, for anybody who is currently going through something like that, this is not mine. This came from Ed Milet, but it was life changing for me, and so I'd like to share it. When you're in a place like that, it's not that you have anything wrong with you. It's for the reasons that we just stated here, right? And it's not even about the fact that you have a manifestation problem. There's nothing wrong with your ability to manifest. What you have in those moments is a depth perception problem. You think that your manifestation, you think that your goal, you think that your healing, your salvation is farther away than it actually is. It's just the depth perception is off, right? You are one decision away, one conversation away, one video, one podcast with Kathleen away from a whole new life. It's just one decision. It's one moment, and you never know which one it's going to be. But when you think that it's farther away than it is, because we are co creators, you're going to act and behave and make decisions like it is that far out in the future, which is going to keep it that far out in the future. If you truly just find a way, first acceptance and then surrender, right? But then just find a way to be able to be open to the possibility of a miracle. And it doesn't need to be this huge grandiose thing, right? It doesn't need to be this winning the lottery and then all of a sudden things fall in your lap, or you find the love of your life and everything is fine. Miracles are actually those small micro shifts, because alignment happens in small micro shifts. So when you get that one conversation, that was the miracle. When you get that one download, that was the miracle. And see it as such, you know?
I have so much more to say, but we have to take a commercial break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Journey of an Awakening Spirit. This is Kathleen Flanagan, your host, and we are streaming on the Bold Brave TV network. And I have Haley Carbajal in the room with us, and I want to give, I would say it's probably something that can help you move into what Haley was just talking about as far as really owning that. Bob Proctor, I discovered this about 2-3 years ago. Bob Proctor talked about your future self. What would your future self do in this situation? So you're coming out of those limiting beliefs, those paradigms, the things you talked about as far as why am I doing this and how you're perceiving it. Well, last week, and I think it was right around the time that you and I spoke, and I said that I saw this magnificent being right here in front of me. I was doing a videogram, and she was right there. And I mean, I literally saw her. Now, I've seen her before, but not like this, and not that close to where I could touch her. What I did, and in the videogram, I said, I don't know if I could be her because, it was so big to me in my small thinking, so to speak. And then I said, no, I can do this. I can be her. I am her. And I leaned in. Now, let me tell you what happened when I leaned in, because I didn't know that yet. So as I'm writing my spiritual vision, and spirit comes in and starts dictating. So it's no longer it's the I, it's the we. And I'm like, okay, keep the we, because, every time I try to change it. And that was the cooperation. And I'm teaching this to my coach as well. And I come into this point, and there was they said, you are who you just saw. When you leaned in, she came in. That's why my energy was all over the place when you and I were talking. That was why. Because I leaned into her, she came in. I'm like, what the hell is going on with me? I can only handle like 75% of this energy capacity, because I've been in this when I wrote the books, and I couldn't handle it. And then I was like, well, I'm 25% shy. And I'm like, and it was like, I think the day after or something, I went, oh, I get it. Oh, I'm going to work my way into it. So what did I do this week? I started learning how to bring my vibration up. So now I have to create a whole new future self, because I just brought her in. And it was such an amazing feeling. And it was all because, what would my future self do? What would she look like? How would she feel? And I was taking, for the last 3 years, always moving towards my future self. But of course, I always figured she'll just keep going out, keep going out, keep going out. But that is not what happened. I leaned in, she came in, and now I'm on a whole new trajectory.
That's an amazing story. Amazing story. That's absolutely true. Most of us make decisions based on history, when if we're really trying to new reality, we must be making decisions based on where we're going in our future. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, but we must do that.
I know. I mean, I'm living this as we're having this conversation, and you're putting putting more of the dots to the story of the connection, even though I'm finding them. It's like you're just adding because of your perspective. And that's the purpose of every person on the planet, is because you're bringing me clarity in a way that it may take me another couple weeks to understand what I fully discovered, but you brought this clarity. So that means now I just jumped up again on a higher rung, and now I can get some new information and not spend 2 weeks discovering this. That's why we value the people. That's why people are gifts, no matter what they bring to us. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, right, or wrong. It's your perception of the story. But as long as we sit there and say, well, what is the gift that I bring? Because we bring gifts to our people too. It's not one-sided, and we think it's a one-sided world, and it's not. You bring as much value to me as I'm bringing to you, and it doesn't matter what our age is. It doesn't matter what our generation is. It doesn't matter our religion, the color of our skin. None of that matters. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are a cog on the wheel, and every single one of us are vital. We're vital to this planet's evolution. And you just proved it. We just proved it on this show. Thank you. And bless your heart for doing the work that you're doing.
Same to you. Same to you. I mean, I 5D consciousness knows that there is no competition, right?
Yeah.
Because your strengths complement my strengths, complements another strengths, and then who wins? Everybody that's listening. You and I win. Everybody that connects with us. I don't believe in competition because we all get what we need. We all get what we want. We all get who the people that we are meant to serve will fall into our lap. And then when they are meant to be served by somebody else, they will find that person and then somebody else will come. There's no gap ever. And we are stronger together when we collaborate with the collective for the collective.
And I agree with that because when I was married with my ex-husband, what would I do? Everything I did was all about collaboration, finding the team members because he did construction. So let's find the plumbers and this that were in alignment with who we are, our values, all of that. And people thought I was crazy back in the 90s saying that. And I'm like, there's nothing crazy about this. So, you're so right on the money there. But we're
Yeah.
out of time. So how can people get a hold of you, Haley?
Yeah, so I'm on all major social media platforms, 5steps to alignment. But the best way to reach me is 5stepstoalignment.com.
Okay. Well, if you guys enjoyed the show, I really would hope that you would like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to forward this YouTube to friends and family because I think this was a very enlightening conversation. I am so honored and blessed that you came on the show, that you reached out to me, and I found a way to get you on sooner than later. So from my heart to yours, everyone, I hope you have a blessed week, and I will see you next week.